everything's working for us. We are on air and whatnot. Hello. We're good.
Hello.
Welcome to this week's and first episode after a little hiatus. Episode of the podcast. Today we are going to be talking about something I've been excited for a long time. But first, since you were on camera, I decided to neglect this part. I want you all to introduce in our normal way. We'll do that first. This is Ripley. Say hi, Ripley.
Hello. Hi.
Ripley, since you are new on the show, do you want to just say a tiny bit about yourself? Just anything you want to
Uh,
say, just.
well, I have been in a lot of different fandoms in a lot of different areas, and the show we're about to talk about has been a dominant part of my life since about 2009, I want to say. It's 2008, 2009. It's right about when I got into it, and I kind of got into it super hard.
I, I can feel that. I can see
Yeah.
why. So today, no secret with Halo character donut behind Ripley and the Halo stuff behind me. New cabinet, gonna be showcasing stuff here from now on. We're talking about Red versus Blue, and I am really excited for that. I, I, I,
Me too.
I right before we go really deep into Red versus Blue, I want to just something I did not really ask yet, but just I want to see both of ours kind of for the new viewers our relationship with this series, Red versus Blue, but also kind of just what Red versus Blue is from because
So for me, Red versus Blue was my entry into Halo and pretty much console games. I I had a friend who was super, super, super into Out of Mind. She loved that series, that mini series so much. She had me watch it, and I thought it was pretty cool. So then I started watching Red versus Blue from season one, episode one, and I fell hard and fast for it. I think I was like halfway through season three and found the box set for all of the Blood Gulch Chronicles for sale on eBay for like $80
oh,
and bought it without having seen the other two in it, like the other half of the series up to that point. And by the time I finished it, I want to say they were in the end of season eight, about is when I finally got caught up with everything. But from there, it got me into the story of Halo, which got me into the video game of Halo, which got me into voice acting, uh, which eventually led to me moving to Austin, which is where I've been for the past 7, 8 years, before getting priced out of Austin and moving out. But it seriously dominated and changed the trajectory of my life, essentially. um and yeah, a lot of I've met some really great people through the RVB community, and it's I've been at like every single RTX except for the first one and the last couple, the last two. So
I've always watched her
yeah,
yet. I'd love it one
it
day.
is one day. Yeah, they'll be back.
They will be. Things are probably starting
Yeah,
to come back now. I think that's
yeah.
really nice. But for me, and I've told the story before, but my first relationship was actually with the James instead. And now it's because I went to a friend's birthday party when I was a kid, he had Halo 3 on. And the thing that sold me, like, I want to try this game, is funny enough, is the elephant and the map soundtrack.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. I'm like, big vehicle, mobile base, I wanna. And then I immediately fell in love with the story. And then I found Resident vs. Blue. They must have been, I think it been around the same time, like 09, 010. For
Yeah,
me,
it's about.
maybe. Or that, 08. And I thought it was fantastic. You have, like, not that it was funny, but it was, the story of how it was made of originally that the guys in a dorm room that started playing the game, making voices,
Yeah.
over it, edited the footage, right? And turned it into a show. And then I think that we're not really talking about it today, but just for all of us Red vs. Blue fans, I think that, decision led into, the whole Blood Gulch Chronicles, which you're talking about today, but also the Freelancer arc, the Chorus trilogy, these great stories.
Yeah.
It amazes me. And yeah. But alright. So the setting the kind of start of the franchise is just you have the two teams, the Reds and the Blues, in a little boss canyon. They
In
are
the middle of nowhere.
middle of nowhere, not really the most competent soldiers. They have a tank one side, and then they have a warthog / puma on the other side. Little jeep.
Yeah.
But so we normally talk about characters through this as we talk for cover shows, but we're gonna try to mix it up a bit. So try to do events, but also kind of characters in order, but we're not gonna share whole thoughts of the character. We're gonna go through the event, I think, of the show. So I guess first, I guess is Griff and Simmons. How do you feel the show started?
I mean, it's an absolutely iconic start,
Oh yeah.
and they definitely know that because they keep referencing it throughout the rest of everything. I think that question, "Ever wonder why we're here?" shows up in Genlock. Um, and the two of them are just the dynamic of the characters and the chemistry of the actors just lends itself. They're just such a great comedic duo. So there's so many scenes you can just do, and just the two of them talking nonsense can carry the weight of the entire scenes. So
The duo is very iconic.
yeah.
Even when I was watching The Mandalorian, right? Like, there's. Have you seen The Mandalorian?
I'm not caught up, but
You saw the first season, though?
I've seen the whole first season, yeah.
So, remember the two Scout Troopers?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
just gave me RVB vibes, especially Griff and Simmons.
I felt that, yeah.
It just
Yeah,
immediately
and
jumped to that. They made such a staple. Like,
it's like they're talking about inanity, but in such an honest, serious way that I mean I feel like we've all had conversations like that where it's somebody that you just know and you're talking about something that's probably really stupid or out there, but it's like you're both totally invested in this conversation, and it flows. There's it yeah. And that was like such a great start to the whole series, I think. And really kind of especially considering they didn't plan to go where they went. They just ended up there.
no, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic start, and the characters grab you immediately. I think that big question of why are we here?
Yeah.
It gives you the flavor. It gives you the sense of what the show is immediately, because it's jokey, but it's also it hints of like it makes you think of those serious topics that it starts
Yeah.
going into, especially like many years later. That yeah, they're one of my favorite openings as I think of any show I've watched. And there's a reason that it was the main reason stuck by me. But alright, so you meet Griffith Simmons and you kind of have the dynamic duo of the red team. But then I also I rewatched this like a week ago, the first season, so I'm a
Yeah.
tiny bit fuzzy since um I think YouTube was okay with me saying this without saying the name of the thing, but I got my second dose. I'm fully done with that, but side effects are more exhaustion, more tiredness, that type
Yeah.
of thing, which has hit me the past couple of days. So tiny details might be a tiny bit fuzzy on, but I'm good. But no, so then we have Church and Tucker. We are introduced to them afterwards, and it kind of a good adjusted to the blue team too, where
Yeah.
Tucker is my favorite character out of anyone. Church and Tucker are my two favorite characters of the whole show, and they always will be, I think.
Yeah. With the Blood Gulch crew, I tend to it depends on the day who's my favorite. Sometimes it feels like a Sarge day, sometimes it feels like a donut day, sometimes it feels like a church day, and I just don't care.
Donut.
Donut.
Donut. First time we see Donut, he says, um, that Griff and Simmons trick him, kind of say, go to the store.
Yeah.
Heads over. Caboose, you already kind of met by that point. And Caboose is the most interested, I think, in the Blood Gulch Chronicles. Because he has the most change.
Yeah. I think that was unintentional and just kind of a I don't want to say like continuity error because I think that those first few episodes in particular and Blood Gulch in general, I know that they were going for the rule of funny and they kind of put that ahead of continuity. So I'm not too worried about continuity errors.
No, but it
Um
also makes sense in a way. Like you, like, like you just said, they put ahead a rule of funny. And you could tell
yeah.
that with her story. But in a weird way, continuity wise, it kind of also found a loophole to make it make sense. Which is that
Yeah.
Omega scrambled his brain,
Yep.
basically. Because you notice a pattern a bit afterwards. So, but
Yeah. It's like unintentional continuity.
yeah, that really works kind of well. And also hints at stuff for the future, which is very unintentional, but
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. Well, as a writer, it's like you want to leave yourself hooked because you never know when you'll be able to loop back and grab onto it later on. So some of that, I guess, I feel just becomes like second nature. I'm just going to mention this thing. I'm not going to go
Go
into
ahead.
detail because I might need to, add those details in at a later date.
While you do that, I'm also realizing I did not tweet the show out when we first started. So
Oh,
you do that, and I'm not ignoring. I am fully listening, but I just let everyone know, like I'm just tweeting that out. So if I'm looking to the left a little bit, that's just why. Please continue.
okay. Oh, I that was kind of the beginning and the end of my thought right then.
Oh,
Yeah, I uh now I can't remember what I was talking about. Red versus blue, I know that. Um
we were talking about continuity and writers leaving room for the future.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, it's you never want to give all the detail right off the bat because you don't want to inundate the story with superfluous stuff. But especially for something that's like ongoing, um, you want to leave yourself some wiggle room. And I think that a good writer will kind of do that intrinsically or learn to hit the points and maybe brush over the rest, and then it's there for it's there for the taking in the future. Just, if you set everything up in concrete before without knowing where your end is, then you sometimes write yourself into a corner. But if you leave things open, then that's where the opportunities lie. I mean, that's exciting. As a writer, that's exciting. You leave stuff open, and then you get to like, oh my gosh, I can use this, and it totally makes sense, and it looks like I meant to do that all along. Wink. It's the best part.
There's so many things. All that is true. That is so true. There's so many things in the early Red versus Blue that is left open, or kind of mystery, or that could easily be retconned, which was into something else.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna say spoilers are more or less like they're kind of trying to hide it, but we're trying to hide some stuff a bit. Super, well, not really in all honesty, because they've been around for a long time.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
yeah.
um, especially with the freelance arc, we did no spoilers. We basically just had a 5-minute episode. So, I can't. I don't mean to mention that arc so much. We're supposed to be talking about Chronicles, but I love that. I can't wait to talk about the freelancers. I'm sorry, but we do have Wyoming, Tets, and York though in this, so we'll have a little bit of freelancer talk.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Did you know that the original Red versus Blue was only intended to be 6 episodes? That was supposed to be it.
oh my god.
And they had a lot of fun making it. People really enjoyed it, so they decided to keep it going. And then it kind of became, well, we'll keep making it if you keep watching it. And here we are in what, season 17, season 18.
It really takes like more than 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost 20 years, because
Mm-hmm.
it's it was like Red vs. Blue is happening. It started when Halo 1 was released, a little after. I think because they did promotional stuff, I think, for Halo 2. A bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was 2004, so that was. It's weird to think that that's been around for nearly 20 years.
Yeah, it's wow.
No, it's weird, but it's great. It's such a great show.
Yeah.
But no, and to be clear, we didn't really say concrete what the Blood Chronicles are. They are technically the first 5 seasons of Red vs. Blue.
Yeah.
Web series by Rooster Teeth. And
does it include we're including the miniseries.
We are, but I'm not sure that really counts as the Blood Chronicles. As in, like, I looked at the website, right?
Okay.
Like, I looked at how they organized the playlist, because I watched Out of Mind literally an hour ago, and they organized the playlist by playlists. Out of Mind is separate.
Okay, all right. The one I was watching was
I counted that
chronological, so Out of Mind came between 4 and 5.
Yeah.
This is how I watched it, yeah.
Yeah, and that. Yeah, I was actually never speaking about Out of Mind before, so.
So good.
It's. Honestly, I watched it, I'm like, honestly, that might be my favorite thing from the Blood Chronicle. Blood Gulch Chronicles. I
Uh-huh.
love a lot of stuff. I love meeting Cam. I love meeting, I love Church of Tucker, like I said. But I really like Out of Mine, and because there's so many good lines, especially with Delta.
Yeah.
Especially, I,
I keep like I work customer service and I still think of him when I say, "How can I assist? How can I help?"
one of my favorite, one of my favorite scenes from Out of Mine, though. I love that line of his. I love how he says the delivery, but my favorite though is what makes us human,
Yeah.
and I think they convey so well. Like in the games, of course, famously you have Chief and you have Cortana.
Hmm.
Any Halo fan knows that duo. But
Yeah.
Ripley, you have the freelancers that are part of a military program, all given an artificial intelligence program, AI, to help them run special abilities or improve their effectiveness in some way. And without going too much into future story knowledge, um, the AIs all kind of had a bit of a trait. I would try to be paired with the most effective partner. They're beneficial for both of them. And
Yeah.
you have such a little time to really think about it between Delta and York. His part, that duo.
Hmm.
York is the freelancer as military guy. Now to try to, originally with Steve Cracker. Now to try to pitlock, petty theft a bit. Kind of, hit to that. And but Delta is obviously hostile, so they allowed him to keep him. And you really only have like 7 minutes with them, but
Yeah.
you immediately understand their personality, their connection, that they trust each other,
Hmm.
and I think they're quite impressive.
Yeah.
In all honesty,
Yeah.
yeah. But but all right, we kind of hopped all over the place a bit. So, hmm,
So we're opening with Griffin Simmons,
yeah,
and then we go over to Church and Tucker,
yeah, and we can't keep
and
on
then
going at a slow pace because you'll be here for literally 5 hours just
yeah.
criticizing this event. So, yeah, I thought that.
So
No, go say it.
oh, it's just
Say,
the introduction, the parallels between the Reds and the Blues when they were introducing the new
yeah,
rookies for each team that are, um, they're green, they're gullible, and just the way the situation played out because both of them were being duped into something by their superiors
yeah,
and not knowing any better, and then the one thought the other was the store, the other
the
like just a donut
general,
thought, yeah, the general, and
that set up, set up to
yeah.
go away by the flag, go away for the general. Like,
Yep. Yeah, it's just it's hilarious. That's so funny.
and then after Donut leaves, you meet Sarge,
Hmm.
and I think you'll do play by play just for meeting the characters and then go into overall the plot because, like I said, let's go slow like this. We're gonna be on this for 5 hours at
Yeah.
least. But you meet Sarge, and
Hmm.
and I think you meet him right before you even meet Donut because they look at
Mm,
the scope and then they're talking about that they have some sort of jeep.
that's right. They talk. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you meet Sarge first, and then he goes off to command, and then that's when
and then
Donut
Donut
shows
shows
up.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I I still love the Puma cake. I'm sorry.
It's right.
It's just like they, they're debating between like they show off the Jeep, the Jeep would call it the Warthog in the games. So I don't like the Warthog, but the
Because kind of
pipes
looks like a
up.
warthog.
It's like, why not Puma? That's I love
What
Pumas,
about a
actually.
hey Simmons? What about those things that eat goats? Chupacabra? Yeah. What about that, Griff? Chupa thingy. Is there any word more iconic from Red versus Blue than Chupa thingy? Just no, maybe. We'll get in that later, but yeah, Chupa thingy.
Since no, yeah. But I think one of the most iconic lines is, um, best blank ever of all time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
With, I will say, specific scene where we talked about Freelance Shark again, but I gotta stop mentioning that.
Right.
I'll to myself back. But, so.
It's good, clean fun, or not clean. Take that out. It's good, dumb fun. It's not clean. There's nothing clean about
Nothing
it.
about
No,
it at all.
good, dumb fun.
Nothing clean about
yeah.
Totoro. Pete's sake.
Right. Jeez, yeah. I do think that there's parts that didn't really age well, but knowing where the series has gone makes it easier to like watch that. No,
I will admit,
you're fine.
I fully agree with that, and there were some parts. It might have been because I was so out of it last 2 weeks.
Oh,
I will admit that, but it was hard to get through some of the season. Even though I do love it still, absolutely, it made me realize how much I more now appreciate, really good story and plot compared to just funny humor.
Yeah.
And it really reminded me, right, this is my teeth now, a lot has changed. But
yeah.
but I still love the characters. So.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think after that, I think it was also before me donut. We also have Lopez, where
yeah.
he started making Lopez, and I actually watched. I watched the later seasons, right? With my dad, actually, we watched the Freelance Shark together years ago, and he loved Lopez. And I love how Sarge always assumes Lopez is agreeing with him.
Yep.
Always. And it could be it's the furthest from the truth.
Yeah.
Every time.
yeah.
I love the idea that the straight man, right, is always, honest. The straight man, of course, he's honest, he's telling the truth, but nobody can understand him.
Yeah.
And they all assume that he thinks they're amazing and that he agrees with them.
Yeah. That is such a great comedic technique. the straight man and the off the wall. It's contrast.
Yeah.
Contrast. I love contrast in anything, and it's just it's that dynamic is freaking hilarious.
And then the last two characters we really haven't been introduced to in the first season, right? Were Sheila. What do you think of Sheila?
I love Sheila. I think Sheila's great. I love her so much.
I love the little love triangle. That is
formed. Yeah. Whether her and Caboose and Lopez. And Caboose gets jealous.
He's so sad and jealous.
Yeah.
But
Sheila, no. So my I had a roommate back in 2010 or 11, not a roommate, but he lived in the same area I did, and he had a lab puppy named Sheila. He was not a Red versus Blue fan, so he never understood it, but I would see his dog and I would constantly go, Sheila!
That's great.
It's like, what? But yeah, I love her.
And then after, yeah, we meet Sheila, I feel, one of the best ways where they have no idea how to, like, Wiley got a tank.
Yeah.
And they realize nobody can operate it, but they don't even think of Caboose.
Yeah.
But Caboose, I'm trying to think, did he have a mic at his head before he hopped in a tank?
No, he hopped in the tank before Omega came to the.
To the
Yeah.
cannon. So,
Yeah. And he went through the tutorial.
First thing they do in the tent is that he killed the CO.
Yep.
That also ran kind of really worked to me. Just repeatedly killing Church.
Yeah.
Over and
yeah.
over. And he ends the message like, Caboose, if you kill me again.
I love that. And like, not just you kept killing him over and over, but that also there was this whole he's my best friend. Keep accidentally killing your best friend. It's just
that made me think of the scene about what I mentioned after we talked about Tess. But like, Church becomes a ghost. And the way he talks as a ghost, it takes a while until he forgets what he's doing. I think, because I remember reading that originally thought, let's have Doctor for Church sound like Sarge or sound like Griff. But eventually it's just like, oh, David does use Church's voice so he possesses people.
Yeah.
We kinda skipped Sarge.
Yeah.
Now. So, what do you think of Sarge?
What do I think of Sarge?
Yeah.
I mean, funny.
Yeah. Sarge and Tucker, I haven't really asked your opinions on either of them yet. So, what do you think for Sarge and I guess Tucker?
Did you say Sarge versus Tucker?
For first Sarge.
First Sarge, then Tucker.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I feel one of the reasons these characters are so good and so funny is specifically because of their dynamic with the other characters. And it's like, it's not just that Sarge is funny on his own, because he is, but, stick him in a room with Simmons and Griff, and it's Donut, and it's just literally no plot is needed when you just get the four of them talking, because the way that they interact with each other is like self-propelling humor. It's so great.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's just like this integral piece of the puzzle, and I can't imagine any sort of Red versus Blue that wouldn't have Sarge. Put it on a memo and entitle it "Shit I Already Know."
And he's oblivious to the most obvious things. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
But
Simmons, or not Lopez, like, yes, that's absolutely what he's saying. I am great. Yes, this was a great idea. Simmons is like, this is the worst idea I've ever heard in my entire life.
And his plans, his backup plans, like attitude plan, whatever, D. And, Donut that turns out a shotgun's Griff.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Donut.
Oh my god, I'm serious. It's just, yeah, I just like, such fond memories of the first time watching it and just not even realizing that something could be that funny for that long. And
Right.
just, yeah.
And Tucker. What do you think of Tucker?
Oh, bad. I mean, so Tucker, man, I love his arc.
It's,
Um,
that's why he's one of my favorites. His arc for the
yeah,
whole entire
yeah,
series is fantastic in my mind.
yeah.
Until season 14, I would say, when you gotta have this is no paradox and everyone kind of regresses a bit.
Yeah, I
Until
need to
then,
rewatch that because that one that's I haven't seen that for a
yeah,
bit, but
yeah,
we'll
we're
get up
okay
there.
to
But yeah,
that.
so yeah, season it's like they all work together. Um, and yeah, him on his own, it's just there's something beautiful about having somebody who talks about hitting on women so much, also doesn't get anywhere with anybody.
No, and does not
Yep,
understand women or
yep.
people for a long time. But I saw what was interesting for me with Tucker especially was I think it was the first time I rewatched Blood Girls Chronicles in many years actually, or at least in a while since I've really understood parts of his character from the later seasons better. And I
Hmm.
saw hints of the leader he could become at the beginning of my mind. Like you see tiny sprinkles of it, I feel.
Yeah.
You know? Where
He's a surprisingly good dad for one.
he's a good dad,
Like,
for
yeah.
sure, yep. You know, he kind of I'm not I'm not like for the rest it's very easy to tell who's the straight man of that group.
Yeah.
For the blues is harder in my mind because they're all goofy and they're all ridiculous in some way.
I
But
think
they,
they're all kind of the straight man in different situations except for maybe Caboose. I don't feel like Caboose is ever the straight man. Caboose is always Caboose. He's just kind of doing his own thing. But I feel
yeah,
like
they,
sometime yeah, uh Tucker's sometimes the straight man to Church being wacky, and then Church is sometimes the straight man to Tucker being wacky.
yeah,
But that gives them both a chance to be wacky.
oh yeah. No, they play off each other really well. Of
Yeah.
Tucker and Church, like, like I think Church loves Caboose and cares about him, but also really does hate him. Or not hate, but like has a lot of anger towards being murdered
He
by him
like
multiple times.
irritated that he feels responsible for him
That might be
in
that's a
a
good.
way that he can't, yeah, that he can't justify just giving into that irritation. He has to make sure he's all right and stuff. Um,
Yeah, but on a deep level, I think, especially as the season goes on, as the seasons go on with the Blood Gold
mhm.
Chronicles, Church actually trusts Tucker a lot,
Yeah.
even though it's hard to see just from the surface level, because he's incredibly irritated by Tucker too. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong,
Well, I mean, he's Church. He's irritated by everybody.
that is true.
It's part of his charm. Quit fucking it up.
Well, talking about Church and his life, how about Tets?
Oh my gosh.
And I love right before we meet Tats, right? The
Uh-huh.
interaction with Church and Tucker and especially Caboose, where basically Caboose says like, she's a dirty slut.
Oh yeah.
Because he doesn't say those words, but it's like,
Oh, so he's like my dad always said, don't don't buy the cow if you can get the milk for free. And Church is like, are you calling my girlfriend fat? And Tucker's like, no, I think he's calling your girlfriend a slut.
That's it, yeah.
And then the whole miscommunication, misdirection of Tex is the reason I didn't end up with my girlfriend. I broke up with my girlfriend, and so they're assuming that Tex is some guy that got between them. It's like, no, Tex is the girlfriend, but also the reason we never got together, so we never got married. But yeah, that was illuminating.
With the then goes to, opening up potential, leaving things open in a way not too detailed for the future. It pays off really well.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
It's, I mean, and that's one of the things I really appreciated too, as the series went on and they did, started to introduce the freelancer plot and everything. We'll get more into it as we get more into that storyline.
Of course.
That, because I'd seen other IPs, like webcomics or cartoons or other things where it's like you start off with something that's just dumb fun and people like it and they want to see more of it. And so you start developing it into like an actual storyline and universe and lore and everything. And so you do dark and gritty and you lose that dumb fun that made it popular in the first place. And it's like, that's not to say that this dark, gritty storyline you have going on is necessarily bad, but you've definitely alienated a whole part of your fan base that what they loved was the dumb fun. And I felt that Red versus Blue did a really, really good job of integrating that dumb fun into this darker, gritty storyline.
Yeah, especially, fine, we'll mention this, let's see it again. I'm stupid to see it again.
We're so bad about sticking to Blood Gulch.
I think we did both love the freelance arc too much. That's just it. But
maybe, yeah.
A good example for mine still is, Caboose throwing the spike grenade, and,
yeah.
Washington scene.
That was
throw ever of all time.
Of all time.
And that season, that story is a serious story which I'll talk, But you still have those moments.
Yeah. Yeah. Moments. Yeah, and I'd heard in some panel or some interview somewhere where they were talking about one of the kind of unwritten rules, I guess, that they'd started following was you're with the freelancers have like this more serious handling, and these like wackadoodle things, like the Reds and the Blues still do this like kind of shenanigans, which exist in the same universe, but like you don't see the freelancers doing these wackadoodle things necessarily.
No, but
and it kind of I don't know, like the way they integrate it, just it works, and it's kind of an unspoken universe rules that helps make it feel a little more cohesive as a whole. So I think if you, sorry,
go ahead.
I can go ahead for ages. Yeah, like you don't see the freelancers kind of doing these wackadoodle things. The one scene I'm thinking about in particular, I think it's from one of the chorus seasons when the Reds and Blues disguise themselves as snowmen. And they can do that because they're the Reds and Blues, but if Washington did that, that would feel out of place.
That would feel out of character.
It still exists in the world because everybody's in the same world together. But yeah, the Reds and Blue or the freelancers are the more mature and serious, and we don't, yeah. And I think that's one of the things that definitely helps the story and like makes the universe feel more cohesive as a whole is that you're still allowing these people that got into your hearts because of their wackiness to be wacky, which is what we want.
And
We want wacky reds and blues.
and that is, I think, why the new season, honestly, not to jump too far, really far ahead now, but that why this worked so well compared to even like some of the more modern stuff, where you do not have that.
I have not seen the latest season yet.
All right, not seen anything else.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I am all caught up except for that. It is on my docket. I do need to get to it.
But
So
when not, we really should stick more to Blood Gulch.
Blood Gulch,
Try to
right?
do this more.
Okay, so we've introduced all the reds, all the blues.
Texas,
do you think it's
about to hit.
Tex?
And then
Yeah,
Omega.
Tex, Omega, O'Malley.
O'Malley.
She started out as O'Malley. I don't know. Was Omega Oh no! Who came first, Omega or
It was
Gamma?
Omega.
It was Omega. Yeah.
Because we see. Alright, so the way this is played is weird, but in Blood Gulch Chronicles, basically, we meet both sides of our teams,
Mm-hmm.
Donut grabs the flag from, or Caboose
The
gives
store.
Donut grabbed the flag from the store, and Caboose gives the flag to the general.
The general.
So
Oh, it's the general store. See, 20 years later and it's still cracking me up. I never thought of that before.
They then call for backup, which brings them Tets.
Yeah.
And then there's like this really weird combination of events where Omega then becomes O'Malley, starts going loose around a canyon.
Yeah, like jumping through people's radios.
Yeah, but the first season basically is, introduce everyone. The flag is taken. They call for backup. Caboose kills Church, and then we have like Caboose kills Church and Tets. Also, I think. Did he die the first season, or I think that's the second season?
I think it was the first season, because I think the second season opens with Doc coming in and
that's the second.
Seeing the two graves. Yeah.
So then we have Doc coming in, and what do you think of Doc?
He's just. Oh, I feel like we all know that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's this is very I don't know, there's a very specific word I think that would apply to him, and I don't remember what it is, but it's like not prudish, but like
No, but
that's another great line. Oh, I'm a pacifist. Oh, you're a thing that babies suck on. Oh no, that's pedophile. I think what you're thinking of is pacifier. Oh, yeah, I was way off. Exchanges like that.
Doc does have some of the best lines, I will admit that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just I'm not a doc, I'm a medic. It's different. Doctors save you, medics just make you comfortable while you die. It's like, well, we'll call you Doc. It's not gonna fit. Doc. Does anybody ever remember his name? It's Doc.
Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin Dufresne with an S. Church is like, I don't know how to pronounce that. You're Doc.
And then Church steals Lopez's body.
Yeah, yep.
Omega goes to Doc. Church goes to Doc's head. Right. To find Ted's.
Yeah.
And I love that, like, inside Cabooses. Inside.
Oh my god.
No. Omega first goes to Caboose.
That's right, yeah.
And then he goes.
And then he's being all creepy at Tucker.
Yep. And he goes in Caboose's head. And Caboose's perceptions of everyone was different than reality.
I be Southern.
He does have a pirate accent.
Yeah. Oh, what else? God, it's just...
Donut is a woman. Caboose's head. Yeah.
Caboose is the leader. He's very serious.
Very. Caboose.
Tucker is just dumb.
Tucker's right. Caboose that is why I kind of like the idea of Caboose was not that dumb when he first appeared. Fully, he actually seemed so much capable. I think, but Omega really scrambles his brain.
Yeah.
Because internally he comes off kind of like a very different man. Which I find interesting.
Yeah, it's... And Church and Caboose's head, it was just like...
What? Do you listen to
the
anything?
crankiest, saltiest bastard ever, but also still Caboose's best friend, most loyal fan, and right-hand man.
And real Church, it's so just taken up. Do you listen to anything that is going on ever?
Yeah.
What is this?
Or when Church shoots himself in Caboose's head, and then they get out, and Caboose doesn't remember Church.
I love that. But I also love, quit, I need one of you to shoot me. Our guns don't work. They're just for show.
Yeah, yep.
And it's Donna's headed version to mine is a purse.
Yeah. Does anybody have any tampons?
My God. So we have Donut, we have Doc and O'Malley. Omega goes to Doc's head after Caboose. They hops around, recruits Lopez to make a robot army, and then goes through the teleporter. Everyone gets lost chasing them for the teleporter.
Yeah.
They go through. Everyone goes to different places. I think Tucker and Church end up in prison.
It's Griffin Church in prison. Tucker stayed at Blood Gulch. Caboose and Sarge end up at what was Battle Creek was the map.
Yep.
I remember that because there's a city in Michigan called Battle Creek.
I also love that Sarge recognizes, right? The Blues and the rest are acting like idiots.
Yeah.
We have to work together. But he does not realize the hypocrisy of just how similar they are.
Yeah. Yep.
He does not realize just how much their goals aligned in their own respective canyons.
Yep.
But
It's just a less subtle version of what Blood Gulch Crew was going through.
yep, yep. And then sorry, Griff and Church were in prison.
Yeah.
Simmons got lost.
In the teleporter room, yeah.
Yep, and repairing that, which was not the original map of spots.
Right, they made that one
for the PC
with creative editing.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually something I'm curious about, right? Is when they're making a show, right? Something I never really thought of, but it made sense. Were they using original Halo 1 the whole time? Or were they using the PC version sometimes? Because there was a PC version.
Yeah,
And like that is a specific PC only map from my understanding.
I feel like they did use PC.
Or even
And I feel like they've talked about it somewhere.
I can see
I remember they were talking about how tricky it was to set up that first shot, and I don't know, maybe that was something else I'm thinking about, but I'm pretty sure they. I don't know.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
But like my mind actually goes to I'm not sure how well known it is in the Halo community, right? But in the early 2000s, right? They took away the tiny bit off Red versus Blue to Halo in general. But after Halo 1 was released, they released something for the PC called the Halo Custom Edition. Have you ever heard of this?
No, I don't think I have.
So the Halo
Custom Edition.
The Custom Edition did not have the story of Halo 1. It was just
it was just multiplayer? Oh, interesting.
But it also had a PC maps. And of course, since our PC, it was fully allowed to be moddable. You could change things in the game. So like things that were never playable in the main version. You have a giant map. You can like control a scarab. You can control a pelican, a long sword. Anything you can think of. So, like, because also a lot of stuff from Halo did not exist yet. There's some, like, just standard, stereotypical models used as like a plane. Like a plane is like a fighter jet. For like a modern day fighter jet.
Yeah.
Which, but it made me think, I'm curious if they use that to make some of those scenes.
Yeah.
Because it had access to all PC maps. And you could possibly use internet connection by that point years later,
Yeah.
It's something I never even thought of looking into until this moment. But it's an interesting thought.
Yeah. I feel like I've probably encountered that question and that answer somewhere at some point. But I don't know when or where or what.
It's an interesting game too, the custom edition. I've tried it in the past. Yeah. Yeah, you can make you can even have like AI in a multiplayer.
Oh wow.
So you can have like ton of elites and grunts and all that fighting like,
yeah.
Marines or whatever. That's a big part of that. It's different for sure.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Yeah. The game though, the show though, the end of that season, I think we're talking about a second season still, that ends with them all meeting up in the same area.
Yeah.
Confronting O'Malley, Doc. Somehow Lopez is not ahead yet. But they travel through time.
Oh my.
Because the bomb went off. Since
I don't want to be dead! I want to be alive! Or a cowboy.
This is such a Sarge thing, by the way. To place a bomb in Lopez's body.
Yep.
only Sarge would do this.
Yeah. Yep.
And I love the cowboy line too.
Yeah. Just so iconic.
Caboose. Caboose is the
I think
most
I've quoted
iconic.
that one a bunch
It's so good.
throughout my life.
But they teleport for time travel, allegedly. And
Time travel.
time travel. And it's a nice little way to like introduce the Halo 2 engine to the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
then winding up okay, so I have to point out I freaking love that scene they did where they were doing the performance of the
oh yeah,
timelines, and then Caboose kept reading the stage directions. Donut's like, you're ruining it.
that's great. And like that moment, right, where they go for the teleporter, they time travel. It reminded me, they honestly were not enemies for a long time in the grand
Yeah.
scheme of it. They
Yeah.
teamed up for the greater good pretty fast. And
Uh-huh.
if you really think about it, like, yes, later on, they still, have those banters of like, I want to flag, stupid red, stupid blue, come at me.
Yeah. Suck it, Blue.
But there's never a serious, like, I think as they kind of start to become even friends or friendly, like that's
Yeah.
what the foundation, right? And ever
Yeah.
since then, they were never really fighting with each other anymore in a serious manner, you know. Like I never see them after that. I think try to hurt each other really, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's just like this is what we know, so let's just continue. But I don't really want to hurt you. Compared to before,
Yeah.
where they had Sheila try to blow them to bits. So, which there's nice. I completely forgot that, and it's nice to see. But then you have sort of the Reds and the Blues, besides Church, are kind of in the future. But Church is in the past, allegedly, again.
Yeah. With Gamma.
With Gamma and the engine they used for that was interesting. Since they used Bungie's old hit
Yeah.
before Halo, they used the Marathon series. Which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
To see
Yeah. That was a good Easter egg for fans of like Bungie.
Yeah, that was. I always love seeing that each time we watch that season because it's so it's the love of the creators of the company.
Yeah.
And what their work is, and I think the creators respected that too. A lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know the original Halo or the original Blood Gulch when they started, it was like, and they were doing it before YouTube was even a thing. So I'm kind of not up on my whole internet history, but whatever they were using to upload the videos, they could kind of track location about where people were watching it from. And this is someone in the whatever city that whatever city in California that the Bungie studios were located in, they had a ding from that, and then very quickly more dings, and then all of a sudden it was just like, it's like somebody in the office saw it, thought it was cool, and passed it around, and it just exploded there.
Not surprised.
So yeah, yeah. It's and not it's not the only machinima that was being made at the time.
Oh.
I don't I mean, they may have they've definitely been the most popular machinima that's come out of that medium, but I don't think they're the ones that created or I don't know.
I thought they were the
There's
first.
I I guess I was under the impression that it had been done before, but they're just the ones that had like the lightning in the bottle and everything came together for it. But I guess I was under the impression that there were other videos out there, but they were more like serious war story type narratives, and that Red versus Blue was the first one that was like, what if they're just all dumb fucks?
I did see that.
And that resonated with the people.
It really did.
Because what are we all but just dumb fucks?
That original scene you let down was a good hook.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
was. But so you have him time travel. You meet Gamma. You also kind of already met Wyoming. We haven't even talked about him yet, but
Oh, kid, yeah, Wyoming.
yeah. But let's do Gamma and Wyoming together. They're kind of doing the same thing. So I love Gamma personally. Before he was, an AI of the freelancer program, before I just liked him a lot. He's
Yeah.
a liar,
Yeah.
he's a deceiver, manipulator, but he's really funny.
He likes jokes. Who doesn't like jokes?
He loves jokes, and he kind of screwed with Wyoming's brain a bit, where he just loved not jokes after
Yeah.
Gamma was taken out of him. And
Yeah.
honestly, whenever I see Wyoming now, I honestly just think of the CGI freelancer animation with Wyoming
Yeah.
with his helmet off with the big
Oh, yeah,
curly
yeah.
mustache.
It's like Matt. They used Matt Hullum's face as the model, and then gave him that big old like zoop,
And whenever I
which is
see
so
Wyoming,
appropriate.
it's like there's that cartoony evil doer mustache that's in his
Yeah,
helmet.
yeah.
It fits him so well.
Oh, it does absolutely.
So does.
Man.
But they have a robot army. They kind of goof around, and if they did it, would have kind of hard for me to watch, because I feel that season when they're kind of going between the end, right, with kind of Tucker the alien and kid, and then
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like as much is happening a bit.
Yeah. It felt like a little more like filler,
Yeah.
and I think they were trying to find their footing and had probably spent so much time writing just directly what's ahead of them, not really thinking about the end, and it's like
So unclear to
you kind of
finish
go
it.
around in circles a little bit before you realize you're going around in circles and you need to get out of the rut.
And nothing not funny is funny. There's a lot of good jokes in last season,
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I enjoy seeing Wyoming. I enjoy the robot uprising. I enjoy, especially my favorite part of season 3 has to be Church going to the future to try to fix all the problems and realize that he
Yes.
caused most of them.
Yeah, and then he just causes more.
And then seeing the Golden Church, which they pay off, I think, really well. Like, seeing, like, what's your story? Like, you don't even want to know.
Yeah.
But then, that season, Tucker kind of has a... I feel I'm blanking on part of the season here, because my mind goes to, like, Tucker having a kid, and that whole thing. But, and Wyoming and Tats, but what am I blanking on?
My brain has not been very reliable lately.
I know I'm blanking on something. I'm pretty certain I'm blanking on...
Sister!
Sister, thank
We
you.
haven't talked about Sister
And Vic.
and Vic. Oh my!
But let's go with
Do you
Sister.
agree?
Let's
Sister
go with
was
Sister first.
yeah. Okay, she is brilliant.
She's
The
great.
and I'd heard that one of the reasons she says the stuff she says is because the voice actress Becca was pretty much game to say whatever they put in front of her, and so they kept trying to like top themselves and see what they could get her to say. And she's just like, "Yeah, throw it at me. I'll throw it right back at you."
And Griff's reaction to all of it is priceless.
Yeah, all of her anything that resulted in, yeah, what? Yeah, wait, what?
And then we talked about, Tucker does not be able to be with any woman. He's awful with it.
Yeah.
Just like realizing Sister, only person to realize that Sister is a woman, and then seeing Dot, like, from his point of view, looks like putting moves on her, and then try to throw in, like, I can help. We don't need her help. And it's just
Yeah, we're fine.
medical procedure. And Griff just freaks out when he hears about
Yeah.
it. It's like, don't embarrass the family.
As if Professor does that enough
Oh,
already.
yeah. Well, technically Simmons part of the family because Sarge turned Simmons into a cyborg and took part of Griff as well to put Simmons. Which was very random, but okay.
Yeah, why was that a thing again? I can't even remember.
I don't either. But, so I think you're right. We had like season 4 and 5 very much feels like a two-parter. In a way, it's like you have the Blood Gulch Chronicles, but you also have like this mini two-part season in a way.
Yeah.
Because it's really to mix this together. And because I think...
I have to take my dog out. I'm sorry.
No.
She tore her potty pad apart, and she wants to go outside, so this is a good thing. She's telling me she has to go outside. She wants to go outside. Okay. I will be right back.
Okay. So how about, we'll have a little break. So, go out, do what you need to do. I'm going to be back to, let's just both turn our cameras off.
Okay,
for a minute,
all right.
And I will be back in, I'll see, 10-minute break, 15-minute break, or
10 minutes is good.
10 minutes break.
That'll be more than enough.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect.
See you then.
See you all in 10 minutes.
All right.
Also, I'm going to mute the show while we are on break.
You go, girl. Come on.
Welcome back, everyone. Yeah, I grabbed some food and checked on my family.
I took my puppy out, and now I gave her a treat ball that should keep her occupied for a couple minutes at least.
Fair. I asked my family, oh, Dodo. I asked my family how the beach was since they took
Huh.
our new doggo, Delilah, with
Oh
our other
yeah.
doggy, Douglas, to the
Uh-huh.
beach together for the first time. And they sounds like they got along really well.
Oh, cool. That's good.
Ducky is too small to swim. He would drown because he had tiny legs and
Oh
he's
no.
bow-legged. So he cannot swim for the life of him. So he stayed at the beach with my mom while Delilah went out to swim.
Yeah, yeah.
She's Aussie Shepherd Border Collie mix. So
Yeah.
she's a good swimmer, that little one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of energy to swim all day.
Oh. By every few months, in a month or so, but I'll most likely show her at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
She's still getting used to me. She still barks at me sometimes.
Oh no.
I'm strange. She only met me for less than 24 hours still, so you know.
Yeah.
I'm still a stranger. She has to get
Kiki
used
is still very confused about my nieces.
How old is your puppy? How old?
She just turned 1 year old
Okay.
on June 20th. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Delilah's only like 3 months. Not wait, 3 months
Yeah.
old.
Like 3 weeks is a little
She is. She's like 12 or 13 weeks. So.
yeah, yeah.
Like 3 months. Give or take.
Yeah.
She's really smart already, but you know, border collies.
Oh yeah. I mean both those breeds, yeah.
But where were we? We were
Sister and
we were really talking about Vic too.
Vic, yeah. Oh Vic.
And Vic Jr.
Vic Jr. Like, I mean, that should have been their first tip off. Where they're like, we're in the future, and it's Vic Jr.
That sounds just.
But
like
earlier, Vic had said, like, not even just it sounds like Vic, but in one of the earlier episodes, Vic was saying that he's impotent. He, Byron blanks, sort of a thing.
Right. That could have given some hint.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Vic, just one more weird character played both sides, you know. Like
Yeah.
the most in on it out of everybody.
Yeah.
Vic, the two most in on it characters are from least in on it to most, right? Would be, and I'm taking York out of this, but Wyoming, then Texas, then Flowers,
Mm-hmm.
and then Vic.
Yeah.
Because
That sounds
Flowers
about right.
was specifically responsible for the Blood Gulch experiment.
Yeah.
You can phrase it like that. And Gamma and Omega too, because of their history with church.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, but so we have Sister, and we have. I still feel we're missing a part of the season now. I'm trying to remember what the heck am I forgetting here.
Well, let me see.
No, it doesn't.
They chased O'Malley into Sidewinder. Church's gut blew up. They time traveled.
ended up back in Blood Gulch. And then sister arrived. Oh, sister and Tex. That's funny. Or Tex got territorial about her idiot.
I found it really funny.
Yeah.
That's what I'm forgetting. Alright, so I just went up season 4. Season 4 starts still at where Gamma is and the bomb and, well, with the bomb, Andy.
Oh, jeez, Andy, yeah.
Andy's ridiculous. They're all ridiculous.
Yeah.
Andy is like, he wants to blow up. He doesn't want to blow up. He really just to blow up. But no, it's, yeah, season 4 is all about Tucker's baby, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
That I was thinking of. And then season 5, and now what I mean, like, I think that is, out of all the seasons, season 4 feels like the most filler.
Yeah, yep.
Because while I enjoy it, you definitely could have told that much faster.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we have Omega and Sister coming in season 5, Wyoming, Gamma, the Pelican just dropping down and pushing Donut through an underground.
Yeah.
Which, fun little thing, like, you see Church that touches original bodies down there.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
get buried. Which they didn't realize that there was a giant hole and giant cavern ditch.
Yeah.
Which also was weird that they're like, this weird cave system, when for the bodies to be that far down and fell, they must have like broken through the surface.
Yeah.
Where they bury them. So they must have saw that ditch.
And that's one of those continuity errors.
It's funny though, it's really funny.
Yeah, for the like rule of funny, yeah, it works. Like who really cares if they didn't address it earlier? It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It's funny now. So yeah, yeah, I don't really care too much about those little flukes. It doesn't need to make sense to me because the whole series is just kind of
wacky as heck.
Shenanigans, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
But season 4, Tucker has a baby. They leave where Gamma was originally. They try to set up a bomb to stop Omega and Lopez, and that did not go as they planned. Tucker births an alien baby. Weirdly enough. And he also fights the energy sword, which becomes like his signature weapon.
Yeah, yep.
You know?
Which only he can operate, apparently.
Yep. And that is what I feel like that season, the one thing season 4 they really did character-wise, is really started to showcase more of Tucker in the leader role.
Yeah.
And that never stopped. And I really liked that. So.
Yeah.
But Tucker has a baby. Church is freaking out the whole time. Like, none of it is making sense.
Yeah.
The baby bit caboose and he's passed out. And doctor said, he's fine. Just lost a little blood. Just like, and then the Reds are doing crazy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Church is actually trying to focus on a task of like, we have to find Tets. We have to find Omega. What are you all doing?
spit all like, if I die, church, you can have my orange juice.
Then after season 4, we kind of have Out of Mind, which we already talked
Yeah.
about a bit, but that is still so good.
Oh, yeah.
I find it interesting now it's your first introduction to the show, because it's such a good intro.
It really is, and it's like it's setting up a lot of stuff for the freelancers too.
It is.
Because I mean, you've got Texas, one of the key players, and Wyoming and York, and that interplay,
And Delta.
and Delta, absolutely. But then it's also got the Reds and the Blues that Tex has to get by in order to get that info from Wyoming and the fight later. So you get a taste of what the Red and Blues ridiculousness is. Kiki's making Dilophosaur noises over there.
But no,
I think there's like she just flipped her toy like 2 feet into the air. I think there's a treat that's stuck in there that she can't get. She came over here.
I love dogs. I love animals.
I love me too. Where would my life be without her? Last year was a really, really hard year, and I'm glad I had her. I think maybe she got all of them. Now she's upset. But yeah, Out of Mind. Going back, Out of Mind was absolutely my. It's a good intro, I think, for anybody. Because I don't really feel like you need to know everything that went on in order to appreciate the storyline, and I think they do a pretty good job of encapsulating the important bits to understand what's going on in it.
It shows really a good blueprint of later on. Like, this is how the actions we had with their AI. You know, this is what it's like. You'll see them in a holographic form floating above, talking to you. Delta did a great introduction. Because I guess Omega was the introduction to the AIs from Freelancer. And then Gamma, but neither of them were kind of the traditional.
I wonder with them if I feel like when they were introduced, they hadn't really nailed down what the Freelancer project was at that point.
I agree.
And I feel like when Delta was introduced, that was more like, okay, this is definitely, tip of the iceberg of what what they decided Freelancer was eventually going to be, and what the origin of these AIs was going to be. I don't really feel like the introductions of Gamma and Omega. Yeah, I mean Gary and O'Malley for one. And then it's one of those things like they fit it retroactively to fit what they had for the Freelancers, but there again, it works.
It does, and I agree with that, because even now I'm not opera anymore. I'll mention this next time we talk, but no, I agree. I fully agree with that, and after fortunately Wyoming kills York.
Baddest moment ever.
What happened?
So I took apart her toy so she could eat the treat that was stuck in it, and then she was eating this part.
Oh no.
Which is not a part you're supposed to eat. So I took it away from her and I gave her another chew, and she doesn't want that other chew. She wants this.
Of course she does.
Because she's a dog and she's not supposed to have it. I don't know. So why it's not fitting together? There we go. She's smart too. She's smarter than my other dog. My first dog was a Basenji.
Okay.
And she was smart and stubborn, and this one is smarter and stubborn still. I got a Chinese crested because I thought it was going to be less of a handful than a Basenji, and pretty much the only difference is that she's
she's smaller. Yeah, she's just the same. Yep, just troublesome. I love you still.
Really, if you don't have a like anyone who grew up with a pet or got a pet or got a dog or a cat, like afterwards you can't live without them. Period. It's too weird without them.
I dated a guy who had grown up with a Cairn Terrier, and then when that dog passed, his family got a Scottish Terrier. And when that dog passed, the dad was so distraught. He's like, no other dogs. He couldn't handle the heartbreak. And I like geez. No, now she wants my water. My water, not yours.
The trouble they can into.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I have grown up with 3 Chow Chows, 2 Airedale Terriers, 2 Irish Wolfhounds,
Holy cow.
several barn cats, a guinea pig, a bird that we found walking the street, like a pet shop quality cockatiel with a little band on its foot that my mom saved from a heat wave. And yeah, my parents now have an Irish Terrier and a PBGV, Petit Basset Griffon Vendian. And then yeah, my first dog was a Basenji,
Wow.
who passed last year at 15 and a half.
Wow.
Yeah. So I started, so my parents have always gotten purebred dogs. So, but they've always done a lot of research and gotten them from reputable breeders. So I started doing my research for because when I knew I wasn't going to get a Basenji, I wanted something a little easier to handle. I think Kyra was 13, and I started researching because I knew I was going to be upset. I knew I didn't want to go too long before getting another dog, but I knew I didn't want to like jump and make any snap decisions and just get a puppy to have a puppy. So
Of course, you never want to do that.
yeah, and my roommate at the time thought that I was jumping into it too fast. And then there was a moment when we were both working from home, and so during my breaks I'd go out and I'd play with Kiki, and there was one time where she heard me laughing, and she said that was the first time that she'd heard me laugh that hard in a long time since I'd lost Kyra. So having she's not replacing Kyra. Kyra will never leave my heart. She is her own little spitfire. She definitely helped. But yeah, we can.
I hear that. No one will play Sadie. Yeah, we lost kind of same during, that time we lost our dog of similar, like around 15 years,
Yeah.
And we had also grew up a ton of animals, grew up with over 6 cats by now over the years.
Yeah.
We had originally a Labrador Golden Retriever cross mix that actually died as a puppy. Yeah, it was. I don't know where I was originally grew up. I grew up in Vancouver during the Olympic season. 10 years ago or so now. A lot of construction was happening, right? And we were all sick one day, and she just ran out in front. And some guy forgot, like, was late picking up his kids. Roads were blocked by construction. He ran for the alley. Yeah. So, then we got Sadie, with the half sibling of Sally, same breed, and we had her for over 15 years.
Yeah.
And she was fantastic. And we got Douglas before Sadie passed, and we've had Douglas for over 2 years, I think now. And we got Delilah last week. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Douglas is a rescue from China. So.
Oh yeah.
So. And we've also had fish and like shrimp and all that other little critters. We have had guinea pigs. So yeah, we've had a couple of animals over the years.
Eventually, once I get my own house, I want to, at one point in my life, I want to have a snake. And at one point in my life, I want a bird of my own.
Nice.
But, that's stuff I still have to put the research into. So I want to make sure I'm getting them, proper enclosures and feeding and everything. So,
Of course. It's very responsible. Because a lot of people do get animals off the whim, and it's no.
yeah, like they don't know what they're getting into. I mean, and that we should be talking about red versus blue. I'm sorry. Animals are my soapbox. Especially, the one thing I'll say is the best way to keep animals out of the shelter system is to do your research and make sure you are getting an animal that you are willing and able to put the effort into their entire life.
Agreed.
Because no matter where you get your animal from, if you keep it for the entirety of its life and you take care of it, it's not going to end up in the shelter system.
Of course.
So I'm off my soapbox now. Red versus blue. Sister.
We are wrapping up, though.
Oh my God! What?
We are gonna wrap up soon because we're like about to hit the 2 hour mark or so.
Yeah. It's so easy to talk about this show. Oh my gosh.
We could talk about for hours. We both know that.
It doesn't even feel like 2 hours. It's like we've just been chatting for half an hour, right? 30 minutes?
It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels... Hey, time flies by when you're having fun.
Yeah.
But...
Alright, so if you were in Blood Gulch, what would your color armor be?
Oh, damn. My gut would say orange because it's my favorite color. But honestly, gold. It honestly, gold because this is just not exactly a virgin blue, but a whole thing for me, right? Whenever Halo has a very deep personal connection with me because of some health history. Mm-hmm. So when I got really sick, and I mean really sick, when I was around 12, is when I actually started playing a lot of Halo Reach. And the first multiplayer I really delved into. And I will always remember I loved the pilot helmet because I could see, like if you depolarize something, to see your whole face, which I liked the symbolism of that. Although you never could see your face in a game, just knowing how the lore worked, the symbolism of that I loved. And I always had gold armor. And I kept that for over the years with Halo, just always that color palette. So I think the same thing with Reverse Blue. If I was in Blood Gulch, it'd be gold.
Yeah.
Not yellow, not peaches red, not pink, gold. So, what about you? Blue?
Teal. Aqua-ish blue.
But what about Tucker? Well, I guess you said
what about
sister, so.
So the funny thing about Tucker, when I moved to Austin in 2012, 2013 I started getting into the improv community.
Right.
And the theater I was at had this show called The Free Fringe on Thursday nights, where it was a free show. Pretty much it was just people just hashing out ideas. It's like we have this show idea, but we're not sure if it's going to work. We want to, test it in front of an audience, or I just want to play with these people and have fun, or whatever. And after I'd taken a few classes and had gotten... Wait, no, don't eat that. No. Thread.
Oh, no.
Where did you even get that? That was supposed to be on the table.
I said that I did not like the class being here yesterday for hours. I had made sure mother to the floor. Please, my cat scratched me yesterday.
Oh no.
Yeah. It looks better now, but it's still like one big red line.
Yeah, cat scratches. Ugh.
Yeah, but continue.
So totally forgot actually what I was talking about.
Teal.
Kiki.
Improv.
Improv. Oh, yeah. So I put together a show for Free Fringe, and the idea was each improviser had an envelope with characters from a show they were familiar with.
Yes.
Would pull a character from the envelope, and then we would all play them in a scene. So we'd have somebody for Red versus Blue, and somebody from Doctor Who, and somebody from Pokemon, and I got Tucker. So I'm playing Tucker against God. It's been years. So I'm trying to think about who else was in that was playing in that show. I think we had somebody from Game of Thrones. Yeah, I just remember that I played Tucker. I tried to do the best I could, but I didn't feel that solid about it. But it was still funny. I mean, it's improv. It's funny when you fail too.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and so, okay, so here's kind of an interesting humble brag.
Go ahead.
So Red versus Blue kind of got me into voice acting.
Okay.
And it's like Red versus Blue got me into Halo. Like it was Alona Tall who voiced Kat in Halo Reach that really got me thinking about this is kind of cool. I want to look into it. I took classes in San Francisco, and then I got this in San Francisco. It's the meta symbol. I can't do it without like squishing that. And then I moved to Austin and got into the improv community because I'd heard that improv would help improve my voice acting skills. And through improv, I got to meet Shannon McCormick and Jen Brown and Barrett Tribe and Shayna Merlin, you know, Isaf Ronan, just all these people that were, you know, big in the improv community, but also in Rooster Teeth, in Red versus Blue. And, you know, it was kind of still kind of a surreal moment when I think about it. And it's like, sometimes I think about the person that I was in 2012 in California, or I got this tattoo in 2011, and I remember sitting there getting it and thinking to myself, God, what would they think? What would the creators think if they knew somebody was getting this inked permanently on their body? Like, that's the thought that was running through my head. And then RTX 2012, I had that tattoo, and I'd had my hair done fire themed for Sigma. I wanted people to know when I was walking into a room I was starting a network for voice acting. And I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday night before or maybe it was Saturday night. I don't know. One of the nights of the convention, they had a mixer with the Project Freelancer Orchestra playing with Jeff Williams, and there were various cast members and writers and directors and stuff just mingling with the crowd. It was small enough I hadn't quite gotten to the behemoth of a machine that it is now, so they were kind of just out in the crowd. And my friends were like, Matt Hullum's here, you have to talk to him, you have to show him your tattoo. And I'm like, God, he's gonna think I'm a freak. But yeah, like my friends like shoved me up to him, and I showed him the tattoo and told him about my hair. Actually, no, my friend told him. I was trying to, like, I don't know. You know you're from Michigan if you've never met a famous person. So I was still kind of like in that starstruck moment of how do I present myself as a normal human being to this person who made this thing I really like. And my friend's like, check out her tattoo, check out her hair, ask her about her hair. And so he really appreciated it. He thought it was really cool. I'm like, all right, I feel less of a freak now. And then Sunday, the very last panel of that weekend was meet the freelancers. And they had a panel with practically all the voice actors on it, and Matt was moderating, and I got up for question and answer, and I asked him something about voice acting. But it's like, before I even once I got up to the mic, before I had a chance to ask my question, he's like, before you start, I want you to tell people about your hair and to show them your arm. Like, he made a point of calling that out
in front of a panel full of people. So I look back at that girl, you know, in 2011 that was sitting in the tattoo chair thinking, what are they gonna think? Like, they're gonna think it's freaking awesome. They're gonna love it. Don't worry about it. It's cool.
I love that story.
Yeah. Oh,
The fan
it's
base is
so
also
fun.
so great.
Huh?
The fan base is great.
Yeah, yeah. It really is. Like, case in point, the Rooster, like, RTX 2012 is such an iconic moment in my life because it introduced me to Austin, Texas. It got me like just I ended up doing, instead of flying down, I did a road trip
Okay.
with two guys that I'd met on the website, you know, and ideally what was supposed to happen is I got the rental car, I drove down to San Diego and picked up one guy, and then we drove to Tucson and picked up the other guy, and then we'd drive straight through to Austin. My license was expired. So I started the trip by getting I was able to get a quick flight down to San Diego. We rode in that guy's car, and then I wasn't driving. My job was just to keep everybody awake. But I had, like, they were great guys. I didn't at all feel creeped on driving, you know. This is a major road trip. It was like half a cross country road trip. These guys I just met on the internet. I mean, who does that, really? And we drove to Tucson. We got a rental car in Tucson, and then drove that through to Austin. And then I ended up staying in a hotel room with like 5 other guys. And it was the same sort of thing. We were just there because we all loved this medium and this show that had been created and everything. And there were so many moments that it's just, the whole thing was epic. I bought a painting at the charity auction by Luke McKay of the Meta.
Nice.
And that's like one of my prized possessions. It's currently in storage in Austin, Texas right now. Because you know, I'm trying to get my stuff up here to Michigan because Austin is expensive. But I was able to spend like 9 glorious years there. So thank you, Red versus Blue, for that.
Yeah, I love this series so much. And
Yeah.
to wrap up the season, that I have like a few last little points I'll think to put up before we say our goodbyes.
Okay.
But no, sort of. Season 5 is really Omega hopping around, trying to find Omega. Wyoming ambushing them. The Pelican falling on Donut. Them planting Scylla in the Pelican. Tucker, because of his sword, knowing that Wyoming is doing a time loop thing, stops Wyoming. Don't Omega hops around again. Somehow, and this is the one that really does not make sense, that the Golden Church in Caboose's head somehow leaves his head. And then goes to the previous time travel thing.
I think that's supposed to be a mechanic like the noodle story from Calvin and Hobbes, where you just reference it. The noodle story. Calvin and Hobbes talks about the noodle story periodically, but you never really find out what the noodle story is, or the noodle incident. But I think it's one of those things where what makes it funny is the fact that you never find out.
Never do.
Yeah.
But it is funny.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of agrees with Wyoming, but not fully sure if that was really not a lie, but leaves anyway with
Omega and Andy.
And Andy blows up the ship.
Yep.
And allegedly it crashes at Valhalla. Also, Lopez is just like ahead for most of all of this.
Yeah. I can't. He became ahead.
I don't remember how either, but it became my head.
Yeah.
Yep. As you were Sarge never really bothered making him a new body
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
long time. He did eventually.
Or like the things that he did as a head, like when he was on the turret.
That was great.
As a
Just like
head.
the floating head shooting turret. Like, I don't know this
Yeah.
works, but okay. And I think they even like mentioned that. Like they made
Yeah,
comment
yeah,
on
like
that.
how is he even firing it? How did he get up there? I think that's one of the things that makes that humor work so much is like they address how nonsensical it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The last we did like we did kind of not go as much into people like church or even like Captain Flowers, but I want to see Flowers for their time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think. But we did talk church, but before that, I wanted to ask. I would say, what do you think of the custom animation? But there not really was any this early on the show. But the music.
Oh, the music's so iconic.
The music's amazing.
Absolutely. I've continued to follow Trocadero. I have like most of their CDs. When I went to San Diego Comic-Con in 2010, and one of the things I bought from the Rooster Teeth Studio booth was the Trocadero, and I ended up I'll do this thing if I get a new album and there's a song that really resonates with me. I cannot not listen to it. So on repeat for at least a month or so. And so it's just I'll try to like listen, like I should listen to the whole, so I was listening to the whole album a couple times, and then it's like I just key in on this one song, and it feels wrong if I don't just have the song on repeat.
Yep.
And at that stage in my life, it was Heart with Wings from Trocadero. And yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about this when we get to the freelancer era. But it's they have the lyric South Dakota Blues, and it makes me think of South Dakota, and she is absolutely hands down one of my favorite characters in any fiction.
Yeah, which would be opening up at the next conversation we talked for that arc. We'll be
Yep.
opening up.
Yep. I'm trying to save it.
And then,
but yeah.
Yeah.
But even just like that slow guitar riff open.
Yeah.
Boom, bum, ba-dum, bumps. Just so freaking. It's just.
The
so
opening of the Red vs. Blue theme.
Yeah.
And I think that song is from that era too.
Yeah. Black Texas Rose, was that it?
Let me check.
Black Rose?
I
Texas
would play
Black
it on
Rose?
the computer, but I'm not sure if it's that. Is it? No, I don't think that's it. Nope, we're not from that era. We'll talk about it there, time then.
Yeah, okay,
It's
alright.
from 2010.
Okay.
I think it's something else. I have it, I think, like deep in my iTunes library, but I have to find that. So,
Yeah.
But no, but not a music, especially a freelance era. But we'll talk about that more later. But
Yeah.
we gotta wrap
Well,
up. Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, like, the two big musical heavy hitters were Trocadero, which I think did more of the early stuff, and then they brought in Jeff Williams around for the freelancer era. He did more, like, the orchestral stuff.
Yeah, I will double check this for a sec right now. Because
And then, yeah, songs with Casey Lee Williams was, I think, freelancer era.
David Levy, Trocadero, for
Yeah.
season 13.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which, for me, the song that really grabs, right, is, at Trocadero, this is from the Gulch Chronicles, I think. a girl named Tets. That what I was thinking
Yeah.
of.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Yep.
Blood, like, these are the songs I own through iTunes, right? From Red or Red, Roses are Red, Violets are Blue, soundtrack to Red vs. Blue,
Uh-huh.
Blood Calls Blues, Steady Ride, there's
That's a
in
good one.
brackets got a metal green,
Yeah.
a girl named Tets, and then All as One.
Yeah.
All as One I really love. And then season 13, only one song. And it's the song Contact.
Yeah. God, that song is so good.
So good.
Yeah.
And that's, we're not going into even past, but I'll just say that song and that scene made me tear up when I first saw that years ago.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
to wrap up, we kind of avoided Church a lot just because he's so important for everything else, really.
He's the driving force for pretty much the rest of the series. Or the catalyst.
Letter to Church.
He
And
he feels like Mad Max.
I would not
Right?
think of that.
Like he just stuff happens around him, possibly because of him, and he's just trying to frickin' react to all of it.
He just tried to live his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Church is still my favorite. I love Tucker and now we could kind of hit that, be much more open, I think. Because we're pretty much done with the Blood Calls Chronicles here. Church's character growth from when we first meet him to the end. And just even the Blood Calls Chronicles, where at the beginning, like you said, he just like around watching all his madness, but at the beginning it seems like he's very accepting of it, right?
Yeah.
To the end, he's like, Caboose had passed out from the alien baby that ate his blood. Tucker had a baby. You have a crazy AI who has still dog. The new dude, his teammate is a jerk, and the Reds are trying to do somewhere through the Jeep. How is none of this not crazy to you?
Yeah.
To the point that when we first see him in Freelancer, he literally has hidden himself away from everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done with this. Bye.
Yeah. Yep. Not my circus, not my monkeys.
Exactly. But also, he's a horrible shot.
Yep.
He's a horrible shot. But his humor is, it's very much kind of this dry humor, even. I think, and I love it. He's the funniest to me.
Yes, Caboose. I'm a gay robot.
Alright, to mention that, I will say one last thing, right? And I love that too. His reaction to Caboose are priceless. But we'll come more to Church later. But I guess the last two things I will ask, right? What is Church? And what is kind of a more generalized question / something related to Donut. But what do you think of him being a ghost originally? Like that direction.
That's one of those things that they started it without that's before they
everything.
Yeah, before they realized the freelancers and the AIs and everything. When they wrote him as a ghost, he was a ghost.
Agreed.
That was the intent.
Yes. But how do you react to it? Like the idea of he's a ghost now.
Oh. So I guess having seen Out of Mind, I came into it already knowing that he was not a ghost. I don't know if I quite understood he was an AI at that. I mean, I don't really figure that out until later.
But I I see what you mean, though. Like, you kind of
Yeah.
put the pieces together, you know.
Yeah.
Mind.
So I mean, and I just kind of took it in stride. Just for the ridiculousness that it was.
For me, I never had that opportunity because the first Red vs. Blue stuff I watched, I think, was the freelance arc.
Oh, uh-huh.
So I knew off the bat, like, he is what he is.
Yeah.
But I still really enjoyed it. And
yeah.
I guess the last question to ask, right, is you mentioned, and I do agree with you, but I want your opinion. Like, you said some things you think did not really age that well. What do you think did age well? Flip to or Chronicles.
Oh, so some of Tucker's flirtations.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the stuff is like it's sexist. It's not like overtly sexist, but at the same time, it's like more throwaway societal lines that, you know, as we grow as a society and realize, okay, that stuff's maybe not okay.
Not the most appropriate.
Yeah.
The church never really was okay with the light, I will admit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tucker, stop being a pig.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, Tucker, I hate you.
Yeah.
But
God, my brain is just failing me now.
What about Donut? Like, I feel like Tucker and Donut are like the two kind of the sexist jokes and kind of a lot of the gay jokes. I'm like,
yeah, it's like they lean heavily on this gay stereotype, and they never really come out and say it, but it's really heavily implied.
It's real.
Yeah, and I know that's kind of been a point of contention.
I still love Donut. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, no, he's a great character.
I still love Tucker. Don't get me wrong, but like,
yeah,
I can love his characters, but also like but even like we watched the freelancer arc, which I did read somewhat, not super recently, but somewhat recently. Like, it's not as. It's still very much there, but also the characters have grown enough that they're not just one note as they were super early on.
Yeah.
Where it's more obvious, maybe.
Yeah. I think there was kind of a lack of diversity in some of the female characters. Like, they all kind of seem to be tones of the same, with maybe the exception of Sister. Like, all of them are kind of bitchy, tough broads, right? They all kind of I feel that's something. I mean, Tex versus Carolina, and you could make the, later on the Freelancer series, and as things come out, you could make the argument that they're related. That's but Tex, Carolina, South, it's all kind of the same tone.
The motivations are all, at least with Tex and Carolina, I feel the motivations are different. But
I mean, with South too, and I feel like, and that's what I say. I feel like it grew as it went.
Yeah.
I did feel like it became a little more nuanced and fine-toned as they went on. And then keeping Carolina in, and
Carolina. Carolina grew a lot.
Oh yeah, so much. Another thing that Red versus Blue kind of did for voice acting for me was after season 9 came out, in the DVD and the special features, there was an interview with Jen Brown, and having seen Carolina, and she's such a serious character and says everything with intent and weight in her words and everything, and then Jen Brown is just like this spitfire of bubbly personality, and it's just like 1000% different from Carolina. I remember seeing that interview and being like, that's what I've got to do. That's what I've got to be as a voice actor. It was such an eye. She's so great. Jen Brown is such a sweetheart. I love her so much. She's so cool. But
But
yeah.
I agree with everything. That is awesome first. But I agree with everything you're saying, is, yeah, and it just, I think it's, to put it to bring this stuff up, you just still love characters, and, love the show, love the characters. It should not reduce your enjoyment. It should not allow you to dislike
Yeah.
what you previously loved. You
Yeah.
can still love it. But you can also, talk about aspects that might feel like,
Well, I think that too,
in modern society.
in our we had a conversation off air a couple days ago about villains,
Right.
and people confusing appreciating a good villain for what they are to idolizing them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're just misunderstood and whatever.
If they
It's
did
like,
really bad stuff, they're still a villain.
yeah,
So.
yeah, and I think that that's one of the things. So I read Phasma, about Captain Phasma, which was her
Right.
backstory,
Right.
and what I really appreciated about that was how she is 1000% a villain. There is no redemption arc for her at all, and I loved that. And I think there needs to be, just more of, to the like good villains. One of the reasons I got my meta tattoo was because I was absolutely fascinated by him as a villain. That and I mean, O'Malley kind of felt like this in him in Wyoming, at least in the Blood Gulch Chronicles. Evil for the sake of evil isn't really a strong villain, and I think
Yeah.
what works in Blood Gulch Chronicles, despite that, is just it's. I feel like it's less about the villain and more about just the shenanigans that happen while you're dealing with the villain.
And even like the villains themselves, I think Gamma and Omega are somewhat more one note, just because
Yeah.
it's their nature, what they worked in well, I think. But
Uh-huh.
when you hear Wyoming talk, right? You can tell there's more there. I think a little bit, not just like evil twirling the mustache.
Yeah.
Like you learn later on. And with Omega, I think the smart thing they did is basically fused Omega and Doc into a single character.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you don't have that one note nature all the time. You have that kind of like two-face,
Yeah.
split personality tier between their philosophies. And even like the future ones, not to get too much to like meta, right? But while I do not idolize Maine for the meta, and say all the things he did were justified, I feel like no, what he did, he's a villain, and he did bad things, and that is not okay.
Yeah.
But I can understand, especially from a story's perspective for that character. And I know, like, we've ran a long time, so we wrap it up with this little commentary. I know, I'm also looking at the time. But I can still feel sympathy for Maine, especially since understanding that character. Like, a lot of people separate the meta, or the meta, and Maine as two separate characters. And I think that is a good idea in a way, because of what the AIs can do to the psyche, and what especially Sigma did to him. But yeah. So there's so much to talk about the freelance arc, which we will get to.
Next time.
Hopefully soon. I will say right now, I'm finding time to do Black Widow. I am also going to next week do Loki. So, stay tuned for that. But I want to say thank you, Ripley, for coming on.
You're welcome.
Today.
Thank you for having me.
It's the first
It's
time.
always great to talk about red versus blue.
Oh, yeah. First time, and I'm looking forward. So, our plan, we are, which we talked about, before, but our plan, and we kind of hit on this already, is we're going to talk about the show for multiple episodes and arcs. So,
Yeah.
today was, or we tried it to be very focused on Blood Gulch Chronicles, and we jumped all over.
We just love the freelancers so much.
We do. But next time, we talk about Reverse the Blue, which I can't promise that you won't, but hopefully sooner than later. There'll be freelance arc, and then after that, the chorus
Yeah.
trilogy, and then, kind of 14 to 6 no paradox, and maybe then, if we want, to continue, we can maybe do Red versus Blue, the recent, I don't know. We'll play it by ear, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll definitely do freelancer. Yeah, we'll do like the ones we really grew up with, really loved, etc.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right. At least the church trilogy. I guess you can call it. See, it kind of is a trilogy of Blood Gulch, freelancer, and then you have the chorus.
Yeah.
Trilogy, which, but church trilogy, those 3 arcs, and then everything else is great, but it's definitely different. You feel church being gone from the show, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, we are going to call it here. Have a wonderful night, doll.
You too.
Thank you again for coming, Ripley. And do you want to say anything to the audience before we go? And also, where the best people can find you?
I'm on Twitter, Ripley Adams VA, and I stream 3 times a day on Twitch at Moonrise_Rabbit. I do a lot of dinosaur games, and I also just finished going through everything in Halo with Guru Vision, so we're taking a little break before we figure out if we want to jump into Halo 5 or not. But I am going to be running through the cutscenes from Spartan Ops this Monday. Yeah.
Nice. And,
so a little watch party.
Guys,
Halo's another thing I can talk way too long about.
Oh, me too. Obviously.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but no, got Reverse Blue season. I got this little guy at my first convention I went to. I named him
nice.
Walt.
Hi, Walt.
So yeah, got Helo Cryptum, Fractures, Fall of Reach, Glasslands.
See Ghosts of Onyx there.
Dark. First Halo book. First Halo book I read, finished. I still love it. I love Kurt. 51.
It's so good. Yeah.
So good.
I'm a Kelly fangirl myself.
Kelly's great.
Yeah.
Tom and Lucy. There's so many great Spartans in that book. And it explains the lore of the Spartan program so well in my mind.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It really does.
So fascinating. I love the I know people get split on Karen Travis. I love the Kilo 5 trilogy so much. I named my car Port Stanley.
Well, I have my first book of. I have to read it still, but
I loved it. I mean it talking about, people idolizing villains. It really goes into detail about some of the, the way that Halsey did the Spartan program. So it's got some really hard to read sections. And I knew someone who idolized Halsey and thought it was a terrible book. And I'm like, you do realize that there's no way she didn't do those things, right?
I love Halsey, of course. I love the character, but no, there's...
She's a fascinating villain!
She is.
Why is anybody surprised that she's a villain?
She is.
She kidnapped children and put them through experimentation. Good people don't do that. So, sorry.
No, I think I do agree because no. We're just
Yeah.
ready to yell.
No, we're done.
We're done. We're done for today. All right, for me, 3 things to me on comments, of course. Kind of Transformers, but honestly, Halo does talk forever, and it's just no, we are done. Good night, after sleep, all that good stuff.
Bye, you too.
See you next week. We're going off
See ya.
here now. Bye, people.
All right, bye.